Right, guys. So, how are you all? Welcome to this next section. In the last section, we have seen a hands-on practice where we have deployed some commands and all. But before directly jumping towards the next hands-on part, first you need to understand some more basic vocabularies, some basic terms, which will surely gonna help you in moving towards Ansible towards a greater extent, right? So now we are going to start a new topic that is known as inventories, right? Inventories. Now, what is an inventory? An inventory is something in which all of your hosts are written. That means we have made an inventory in our last video. That means I've made an inventory that is inventory.txt file, right? In which I've written the host name and the IP and the password and all. Okay. So that is known as an inventory. That doesn't mean that we can write only one host name in one inventory. That is completely a myth. We can write as many hosts as we can in an inventory file. Okay. Simply means inventory. An inventory is a collection of hosts. Okay. You have seen this part in the hands-on lab. Okay. Collection of hosts, any number of hosts. Okay. And this is the basic definition what is an inventory is. But let's extend this towards the next level. Okay. So these particular hosts, okay, these particular hosts can be assigned to a something which is known as a group. Now, what is a group in this case? For example, let's forget about Ansible for 1 minute. Okay, for 1 minute, just forget about Ansible and think of a word known as a group. And what is a group? Group is a collection of something. For example, I have a collection of five apples. Then that means I have one group in which five apples are kept. Okay. So let's come back towards some technical portion. For example, you have five web servers, and for example, three database servers. So instead of writing directly their IPs and the host names and all, you can group them. Okay, you can group them. For example, you have a group of web servers. You have given the group name as web and the database server as a DB. Okay, so you can write the, for example, the web server's host name, say server A, server hyphen A, like that. Server B, server C, server D, server E, like this. So, but in this case, that means you have kind of simplified this thing. You have grouped some of your servers or hosts in particular group that is known as a web. Okay. So how can you group them? This syntax has been used in an inventory file. You can just use a curly bracket, sorry, this normal bracket, square bracket, like an array. Okay. So this will be your group name, and these all hosts are falling in the same group. Okay. DB server, DB group. This DB group can contain, for example, server, three servers over here, server F, G, and H. Okay, so these are known as groups. So that you can write these particular groups in your inventory file. Okay, but that doesn't mean the server A can't be in this DB server or another group. Okay, one host can also be available in another group also. Okay, for example, if you want to deploy the server A in a database server also, for instance, so you can write the server A over here and as same as this particular three. That simply means you can have multiple servers in one group, in one particular group, and one host can also be available in another group. Okay, That means if you want to, for example, if you want server A also available in the database group, you can also write server hyphen A entry in this. That's completely acceptable by Ansible. Okay, so moving towards another level, so these particular groups can also have something that is known as child groups, or in a very formal way, something which is known as nested groups. Nesting. Obviously, if you're coming from a programming background, you know what is a nesting. For example, nested for loops and nested if conditional statements and something like that. Okay. So, how can I nest these particular groups? Or in language of Ansible, the child groups. For example, let's take another example. You have a group that is known as, mm, let's name this group as dog. You have a group that is known as dog. Okay. And this group, you have the servers that is known as server 1, server 2. Okay. Another group that is known as cat. There's a server that is known as server 3 and server 4. That's completely acceptable. There's no problem in this case. But I want something that is known as nesting. So I'm defining another group. For example, take that. Let's name this group as uh, zebra. Okay. So what I want to do is these particular groups can also have their child groups. So for that, there's a syntax you need to use here. Just put a colon and write a keyword. This is a reserved keyword. Please remember that. Known as children. Children. This is reserved, and this colon is reserved. That means this whole syntax is reserved. And in this particular group, you can write the name of the upper groups. Say cat. That simply means this particular suffix that is known as a children. Okay, this particular suffix has that means this particular group that is known as zebra contains all the hosts of the cat group and the dog group also. Okay, let me clarify this thing one more time in a very formal way. uh, Ansible host inventories, you know, can include groups of the host groups. Okay, I'm repeating this one more time. What I said, yeah, Ansible host inventories can include groups of the host groups. Okay, this particular concept is accomplished with the children suffix. Okay, you can write this suffix, and in this particular example, we have created a new group that is known as zebra. Okay, which include all the hosts from the group cat and the dog. That means we have done something that is known as the nesting or the child groups. Okay, so this is the concept. I hope you get it. Don't worry, we'll see everything in the hands-on labs. This is just a theoretical lecture. This theoretical lecture will make you give you a solid understanding of what's happening behind the scene, of what's happening under the hood. Okay, if I want, I can directly go towards the hands-on. If I explain you this concept is this concept is this, but you won't get any base knowledge with that. So for that, I've made a rule or kind of a flow. First, I'll teach you the theoretical concepts and all the things which is happening under the hood, which you need to know before moving directly towards the hands-on. Moving directly towards the hands-on, which will never give you, that particular command on the any particular technology or any particular concept. First, you need to know the base, what's happening under the hood, so that you can troubleshoot or you can handle the things very easily. Okay, so uh, inventories can also contain variables. Now, what is a variable? Obviously, you know what is a variable. in case of programming, what is a variable. What is variable in Ansible? We'll see this in upcoming sections. Variable is a very, very, very kind of powerful thing available for Ansible. Okay, we'll see how we can use the variables in case of Ansible. Moving towards the next step, right? So there are two types of inventories available: the static inventory, and another one is the dynamic inventory. Wait a minute. What's the difference between them? Come on, there's one inventory available, static. So why the hell we are using something that is known as dynamic? Okay. So yeah, let's that question is completely valid. But actually, what's happening over here is the static inventory file. The static inventory file is just a normal txt file. This normal txt file, which we have seen in the last section. Okay, this is just a normal txt file in which you can write the host names and all. But if you have a bigger, kind of production or something, in which if your production server has kind of many hosts and web servers, database servers, load balancer, and backup server or anything, storage servers. So that means you need to handle them very carefully. So for that, how can you write all the particular entries? And for example, if you're for an instance, if the IPs are changing, or that doesn't happen in production, but this is for an instance if your IP is changed. That means obviously you need to change the static file and all. If you have any configuration daily to daily change, so that means you cannot change the static inventory file. That is will make you frustrated every day. So for that, there's something we can use that is known as a dynamic inventory file, which will be updated as per the convenience or as per the conditions or the circumstances by itself only. So how can you generate the dynamic file? Dynamic inventory. Dynamic inventories are generated by scripts or which are pre-configured. So just you need to just run that particular script and the dynamic inventory is generated. But dynamic inventories are pretty advanced concept in case of Ansible, which we are going to see in the very far sections. We are going to stuck to the static inventory for this time only. Static inventory is just a .txt file which we have seen in the last hands-on lecture, right? So static inventories is just a list of hosts which you have seen, obviously. Host names, IPs, and all. You just write all the host names. This for an instance, let me write this like this. Okay. For example, the host name is target. And the IP of this is, for example, 192.168.1.27. And we don't write password. Okay, we will never write password in an inventory file. There's a better, much better way, which is used in production also. Okay, we'll see in the later section, but till now you know only this, so that's why I'm focusing on this part, which is not a recommended way under the course. Okay, so Ansible underscore ssh underscore pass. So you need to write the password. For example, the password is Red Hat. Okay, so this is not a recommended way. I'm repeating again. Please don't dislike this video because of this. This is not a recommended way. Okay, there's a much better way. I'll show you in the upcoming lectures. Okay, so that's how you manage all the list of hosts in the static inventory files. Obviously, you can create the web servers or database servers groups in which you can uh, simplify, or you can make yourself understandable, or kind of you can simplify the things, or you can in a very formal way you can manage the things as per your convenience. You have 10 database servers, just make a group of web servers. Six different servers, or load balancers, or storage servers, and all. You just make the groups and extend this as per your convenience. Okay, so there are two default groups. Okay, there are two default groups available. Default groups. Now what is a default group? Default मतलब जो पहले से बना हुआ है, सीधी सी बात है. Default groups The two default groups are known as, the first default group is known as all group. I'll explain you. And another is ungrouped. Write this so that you can make your notes if you are making all groups. And another one is ungrouped. Now, what is all and what is ungrouped? Remember, these are default groups. Default means जो पहले से बने हुए हैं. Okay. So, all and ungrouped. All simply means, that means if you have, for instance, if you have this particular group, it is known as a web, and you have three servers: server one, server two, server three, and the database group, it is DB. So you have two: server 4, server 5. Okay. Okay. So this is the concept. So now, no, what the hell has happened? Oh God. Okay. So, for example, let's write this over here like this. Web. Okay. It's completely okay. So, server 2, server 3, server 4, server 4, server 5. So now, what you actually need to do is the all group contains all of the things, or all of the, you know, servers or groups. What am I saying? Just listen to me. This is the group. Okay. This is also group. These are separated. And this whole inventory file is itself a group of servers or groups. Obviously, this is a group, this is a group, and all these particular groups or hosts are containing one single group. That is all. There's a default group. Okay. And ungrouped simply means, okay, for example, if you haven't specified a host in any of the group. For example, there are a host that is known as a server 6 or and server 7. These particular hosts are not in any of the group. That means they are ungrouped. So these are categorized as ungrouped servers. Okay. So this is the core concept. Okay. So these are ungrouped because they are not a part of any of the group. Okay. And these all of the including server 6 and server 7 are in the default all groups. Okay. So this is the core concept. So you have seen this thing. So now we can see something that although this is not recommended to in the beginning of this Ansible, there's something which is known as a range. But let us forget about that concept. Range is a pretty advanced concept in case of Ansible. I just remember that concept, but I think this is not the right time to teach you what is a range in case of Ansible. Okay, so let's forget about the range. So we'll see ranges in upcoming lectures. Don't worry about that. I'll cover each and everything and each and every bit uh, till the point where I can, extend myself. Okay, so now, so where you can put all these particular files and all, there's a specified location. There's a particular location available. Okay, you've already seen the nested groups. Okay, so there's something, the file which is available, or the location, okay, which is available, right? That is /etc/ansible/hosts, in which you can, this is a default inventory file. Default FAUL, default inventory. My God, inventory file of Ansible. ये पहले से प्रोवाइड की जाती है Ansible के द्वारा, है ना? Ansible इसको पहले से देके रखता है आपको. But this etc/etc/ansible/hosts file is not recommended to be used. Okay, I'm repeating this one more time. /etc/ansible/hosts, okay, is not recommended to be used. Okay, always use your custom inventory file, which we have prepared, or which we have made by our own hands in the last section. Okay. So how can you use a custom inventory file? Just use -i flag and the path of an inventory, or you can use -f inventory, -f inventory. Okay. Why this is not recommended to use the default Ansible host file? Because there is something which you need to change. For example, if you have a bigger production server, that means you need to change the configuration, the host file every time. So that is not recommended way to always change the default file. Make your own inventory file as per your convenience and change that file, and just use the -f inventory, -i flag, and just specify the absolute or the relative path towards your inventory file. Okay. So this is the core concept of inventories, Ansible inventories, and all. Okay. I'll in the next video, I'm going to show you how can you what is the Ansible configuration file, and how the some key points in Ansible configuration files, which are really important for managing the hosts and managing the Ansible servers. Okay, that's all for this video. I hope you got all the points. For any queries or uh, doubts, please refer to our Telegram channel. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Bye bye.